ouch. And I mean very ouch, baby. If the Manchester United game provided us with the highest of highs, the elation, the euphoria, then this was the lowest of the lows, filled with equal parts of shock, awe, despair, followed by the 7 stages of grief. I mean, how this happened is incredible. This is not an easy game to look at and go, well, there was your mistake. There was the tactical problems. There was a lot about this, very, very perplexing, and a lot of combination of issues that mounted on top of one another. But Villa need to pick themselves back up. They got a game at the Emirates on Friday, and they don't want to go 3 losses on the spin in the Premier League. And so to help me digest all of this is my old friend Balvenie Doublewood. It started as a full bottle. Let's unpack it. Aston Villa 2, Wolves 3. Not a good sports weekend in the Villa parlor. Every team of mine lost, including my beloved U13s, also to a local rival, also at home, 3-2. Yes, it wasn't a 3-goal and 15-minute collapse, but you are left wondering, what the heck happened? We had the better of it. And I'm still trying to digest this whole thing. I've watched this game twice. I've watched the goals over and over again. It's a bizarre one. There were some positives, though. Emi Buendia in the first half looked like a proper number 10. He was linking up. How about the slide rule ball he plays into Danny Ings? I can't believe Danny Ings did not score that goal on 27 minutes. Still not 90-minute fit, though, Emi Buendia, but signs of life. And I'm clinging to any positive I can. All right, let's pick through the bones of the big moments or issues that defined Aston Villa 2 and Wolves 3, starting with the statistical story, which does tell a tale. And I don't use the same stats after every single game, but expected goals is an important metric for the club, so I will keep it in. And Wolves had the better of it over 90 minutes, even though in the first half, Villa was at 0.66 to Wolves' 0.36, based on that great Danny Ings chance, the one that went just wide from McGinn, and Matt Cash was buzzing as well. McGinn had a great game. He created 5 chances, scored 1, assisted on the other. But how about this for a stat? In the last 8 games that John McGinn has scored for Aston Villa, they've lost 6 of them. Big chances 2 to Wolves' 4. And I wanted to include Adama Traore's successful dribbles at 6, which was a game high, because Aston Villa was missing a certain Jamaican international who is capable of doing the exact same thing. And we'll talk a little bit about why players are like that are so important in games like this. And as much as it kills me to say this, I have to tip my hat a little bit to Wolves. Oh, I know. And I could say that because I live 7,400 kilometers away from you, and I don't have to go into work on Monday morning and get stuck in a kitchenette at the office with a bunch of dingles who are trying to figure out how to use cutlery as they trash talk you. But listen, they had a better mentality at the end of the game, and I think they out 3-5-2'd Aston Villa. I think that was a huge factor, and that's why they played those diagonal balls into the dangerous area on the sides of those 3 at the back. That was a big factor. But, you know, they started the season poorly, and now all of a sudden it's 3 wins on the bounce. So I reluctantly and hatefully tip my hat. Honorable mention number 1. This had nothing to do with the substitutions, as I saw many people speculate on social. Well, this is all about Dean Smith's substitutions. No, it was not. Douglas Luiz played 19 minutes for Brazil on Thursday and flew almost 12 straight hours to get to the game. It is remarkable how well he played in that first half. That's as tidy as I think I've seen Douglas Luiz play, but you are not going to risk Douglas Luiz with another of these mounting muscle injuries. When you fly that long, by the way, your head is in a fog, your body's messed up. Anything over 3 or 4 hours is tough to deal with. He did 12 almost. So he being replaced by Marvelous Nakamba, who else are you going to sub him with, is a no-brainer in that situation. Emi Buendia was fading. I said it earlier. He's not a 90-minute man yet. So Jacob Ramsey coming in, that made sense. You would have thought those fresh legs would have helped, but Young player, different circumstance. You're not starting now. You're not into the rhythm of the game. You're coming into a game now to see it out. Totally different mindset. And then Matty Cash coming out for Ashley Young while he was hobbled. So your choices were you go to 4 at the back and you move Konza or Twanzebe wide right and play as a fullback, or you stick with 3 and you bring in Ashley Young. You cannot argue with any of those substitutions. And I simply don't think that the substitutions had anything to do with the collapse. I think it was a collective mentality issue, which I'll get to later. Honorable mention number 2, does Aston Villa have a broken axle? And I promise you, I do not have an agenda. But Twanzebe gives a horrible ball away just 8 minutes into Huang. Which reminds me, he would be great in the Squid Game. He looks very poor on both the 2-1 and 2-2 goals. And then on the run by Traore, he just keeps backing off, like step to him, step up to him. And he doesn't. And that forces Jacob Ramsey to give away the foul. But the most obvious thing to me is that he just poses zero threat on attacking set pieces, which makes me ask once again, and I've asked it on this show before, what has Courtney Hawes done wrong? Because he looks more solid in both boxes. Big issue or moment number 3, Villa will not be Villa until it is built around Bailey. And you were going to get sick of hearing me say this, but they brought in Leon Bailey to be a player who is not just freakishly fast and can be effective at 0-0, but somebody who can also retain the ball and sometimes drive the ball and sometimes kill a game off by earning fouls and doing all that ugly stuff that you know who used to do. This is the kind of player that they needed in this game. The outball, somebody who could hold it. Look at Adama Traore. Every time Adama Traore got the ball, he caused problems. He created fouls and he kept Wolves in possession. The possession totally shifted. Well, this is the same situation for Leon Bailey. I'm just talking about 0-0 now, or a level game. Leon Bailey can be effective because other teams have to respect him. They have to drop off a little bit. They can't take too many risks. That's just when the game is level. But it's when Aston Villa are 1 or even 2 goals up, like they were right after John McGinn scores, that you want to be able to unleash a player like Leon Bailey as the opponent starts to commit players forward, because with all that space, he's going to get you a dagger goal now and again. And if he doesn't get that goal, the opponent may be thinking, do we commit as many men forward for the cause at 2-0 down? And can he take the ball on a mazy run, draw a foul, kill some time? That's what Aston Villa were missing on Saturday. And we have to hope that the medical department gets this right, because this player is the player that the whole club is imagined around. He's got to be fit, and he's got to be fit for the long term, because when he is an ever present in this lineup, Aston Villa is a completely different proposition. Now, closely related to those Leon Bailey points is point number 2 in this game. The mentality after 2-0 was not very good, and Villa was trapped in the no man's land of figuring out whether to hold on to what they had for another 10 minutes or try to get the killer goal at 3-0. They're called cliches for a reason. I've said this often on this show. But at 2-0, the worst lead in sport, the next goal is match defining. And sure enough, Wolves got it. But think back to what happened against Everton. Aston Villa up 2-0. And what happened? They had that outball. They had that weapon. Danny Ings found it with a glorious switch ball, and the game was dead. In this particular game, everything seemed to change when Daniel Podence came on the field. Wolves' mentality looked good. Their body position looked good. The energy looked good. The possession got better. And Aston Villa took the other approach. They retreated. They dissolved into their own penalty area. And when you sit back and you invite pressure, guess what happens? And the number one big issue or moment that defined Villa 2 and Wolves 3 was second phase failure. All 3 goals chalked up to set pieces. The 3-2 from a direct free kick that took a wicked deflection. I don't think Neves was going to score because Emi Martinez had that part of the net covered as he's supposed to. It goes off of target. I don't know what he's supposed to do there either. It's a bit of good fortune, let's be honest. But on the two corners, first one, the killer 2-1 goal that Villa needed to prevent. Ball's whipped in, Ings clears it, heads it right back. It's played back across again, Ollie Watkins. So two forwards on the near post, half clearances. Nobody's outside the penalty area, so the ball is recovered by Wolves rather easily, and then it's a perfect ball played in behind Danny Ings on the diagonal. That's not where he normally is. Probably should have been Matt Target there. And then from there, what do you do? I mean, they're two perfect balls. The diagonal is perfect, and then the ball whipped across is perfect. Can Emi Martinez dive out? No. Played in with too much pace. Could the defenders have stepped out? No, because you're risking that if you're going offside. And the crazy thing about the 2-1 and the 2-2 goals is they were identical in how they were constructed. And that 2-1 goal changed the entire mood of the game. The 2-2 goal is shockingly similar, only scrappier. This time the diagonal ball comes across and Target just is not strong enough to deal with it. And Tuanzebe gets all turned around. He's facing his goal. I thought it was an own goal at first, but he's in no position to clear the danger there. And the frustrating thing is the very same goal occurred just 5 minutes beforehand. And I'm watching this over and over and thinking, what do you do here? Do you all break out, push out all en masse? When that ball comes out to the top of the area, do you squeeze out and hope to get the offside decision or at least give Emi Martinez some space? They're too mentally tired at that stage. But even if they had managed to clear their lines, because just before that goal, they cleared their lines, but everybody's in the penalty area. There is no out ball. And therefore, they are all collapsing back on top of their own goal and in some cases facing their own goal. And you are in trouble when you are a defender and you are facing your own goalkeeper. And then Villa had so many opportunities to deal with the ball just prior to the free kick goal by Neves. It started with a ball out to Ollie Watkins, and he couldn't corral it. He was backing into his man. It bounces off his leg. Marvelous Nakamba comes in and has a little nibble at it, but can't retain possession. And then Adama Traore goes past one, then two, then accelerates, and he's going forward, and everybody is backing off. Somebody step to him, for goodness sakes. And in comes Jacob Ramsey and gives away the foul. This now leads to a very intriguing game on Friday at the Emirates, because if you think that loss hurt you as a supporter, imagine the feeling in that dressing room. I mean, they get two great goals in front of the whole tent. The Danny Ings goal is spectacular in its simplicity, but its clinical nature. This guy is elite. He's 13 yards out and he heads into the bottom corner where the goalkeeper has no chance of getting it. And that was right after, by the way, halftime, when Wolves delayed coming out of the tunnel by 3 full minutes and then have the cheek to still go and do some doggies at the halfway line. And what are they doing there? I hope somebody should have been booked for that, by the way. And so with Ings scoring, that snuffed that out. That was a statement goal, followed up by John McGinn, who was wonderful on the day. And all of it meant absolutely nothing. This is a big week. How they respond to this is going to say an awful lot about this football club. There were a couple of changes to the stats that we keep tabs of throughout the season, including the record at Villa Park falling a little bit. Oh, that one really, really hurt. So 7 points out of a possible 12. But Danny Ings added to the combined Watkins-Ings goals tally. I don't know what to make of the Austin McPhee set piece plus minus because they were second phase goals. I just don't know if we could blame Austin McPhee for the original balls that were played in, or even the free kick for that matter. And that's pretty much it for that. And as far as European progress is concerned, well, at 79 minutes, that darn airplane was entering the airspace over the Netherlands. It was almost over the continent at that point. And then some turbulence started to kick in and people were vomiting and there was screaming. It was just awful. No time to wallow in the mire. Time to lick the wounds, get back up on your feet. There's a game at the Emirates on Friday where last year Aston Villa were sublime in front of course, an empty stadium. Will Emi Martinez pull one over on his old team once again? We shall wait and see. But until then, be well and up the mighty Villa.